When last we left our intrepid adventurers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Immortal Serpent Queen.
And the Immortal Serpent Queen. She's an intrepid adventurer, too.
I think she is now. She's taking a break from her Immortal Serpent Queen career.
Yeah. Queening is slow right now.
It's a midlife crisis.
It's really hard to pinpoint the midlife on
Immortal Serpent Queen, yeah.
Though, it's interesting. We reflected that, most of the party is immortal at this point. They're not the good kind of immortal where you can't get killed. But high elves don't age. Oblin don't age. Serendipity is a high-level wizard. And technically, Aurora is still alive, so she's still a party member, I guess. Ish. Yeah. Basically, we just need to get Ben Gerard turned into a lich or something. And then we're good. Anyway, yes.
I think when this conversation came up about everyone having immortality, Gerard was like, find the Triforce.
At this point, just go for it, Ben Gerard. If you're not worthy, you can't find it anyway, so...
I mean, the only reason really to prevent him earlier was that it would have messed with the plan.
Yes, it's fine now.
Wouldn't it also, if you're not worthy, doesn't it also kill you?
I think it just disperses.
It doesn't really say. It says you can't hold all the pieces. I mean...
You can't hold all the pieces.
I think the pieces fly apart before you can do it. I mean, it's obviously based on Zelda, so I think that's how it works in some games. They what's-his-face tries to get some. The bad guy always tries to get him. Ganondorf or Ganon. And then he can never hold them because he can only get the power. He tries to get the other ones, but he's not worthy. It's like what always happens.
You'd think he'd at least be able to get the courage one.
I don't know. You don't have to be too courageous when you're the most powerful guy in the world. Just whatever. If you actually, if he saw another guy that was just as powerful as him, he'd be like,
just run away. Yeah.
And then the other guy would get it.
In Twilight Princess, he dies standing up. You stab him and leave your sword, and it just fades to black while he's just standing there dead.
How does he keep getting resurrected, or what's the?
So depending on which interpretation of the timeline you use, it's either every game is a separate story, or it's a single story being replayed over and over again in different periods of history.
Okay, so it's a different canon.
So there's a fan who went and tracked down and managed to link all of the games together into a single timeline, and then one of the directors of one of the Legend of Zelda just said nope.
But they have now published an official timeline that links them all together. But I mean, usually in several of the games there's Ganondorf, who's the avatar of Ganon, basically, and Ganon is an evil god, and usually it's mostly you kill Ganondorf. You rarely kill Ganon. If you do, you can imagine whatever, just disperse him for 1,000 years or something. But anyway,
back to immortality.
Back to the important stuff. Basically we went through our remaining enemies list, and it's basically doppelgangers. The Warforged are up to something, we don't know what, but they've never really bothered us.
Except for killing an entire town and saying we'll stop if you kill these people.
But we've been ignoring that. It hasn't been harming us.
Yes.
We figured more important, stop the timeline from collapsing into ruin, because that seems to be a more immediate threat. The problem is that the doppelgangers are scattered throughout history. They've dispersed because they know that we're after them now and that they can't stand up to us one-on-one. So they're hiding, and doppelgangers are really good at hiding, and they have all of history to do it in. So...
Time-traveling shape-changers.
Time-traveling shape-changers. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be quite the hunt afterwards. And what they're trying to do is just make little changes here and there, and it doesn't matter what the changes are. Make enough of them, and the time stream frays and falls apart. So we need to reinforce the time stream so it's not going to fray and fall apart from all their little changes. We have that... I can never remember its name. The other phone of the Earth. Pan-Yestar, which allows us, using Panadar in conjunction with it, to sort of heal the time stream. What we need to do is we need to go to the earliest accessible moment in time and the latest accessible moment in time. And we decided to do the latest one first. And the problem there is we can't learn anything about that point. We even managed, with some feats of Arcana, to figure out how to get to the latest point in time without knowing when it is. We don't know how far in the future it is. I'm getting some serious SCP vibes out of all this. It's like, we have to research this without actually understanding it, because as soon as you understand it, you die. So yeah, we geared up and we were like, okay, we're gonna go to this time frame, and I'm sure we're gonna get attacked by doppelgangers and possibly other things, and there's no way we can prepare for it, because if we were to prepare for it, we'd have to know what we're getting into. We can't know what we're getting into. For once, our standard strategy is actually necessary. So yeah, we blind ourselves and deafen ourselves, and off we go to fight whatever comes up.
Yeah.
And this is going to be
D&D is a game that you play in your imagination, except don't imagine anything.
Yes. Yeah.
It's actually a very odd session.
It was just very odd. We had the map out. We put our figures down on the map because we're in communication with each other.
Right.
But we were all just sort of huddled together with Serendipity in the middle, because she's casting the all-important ritual. And the rest of us are just, we're meat shields, if nothing else. Huddled together in the middle of a blank map. And whatever you do, stay huddled together, because if one of you wanders off, how are you going to find your way back?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Nope. Deafened.
Marco Polo doesn't work so well over sending stones. I think we talked about like having a rope that we were all holding on to, but I don't think we actually did that. Maybe some string.
Yeah, you wouldn't want
that
to
it would be
strained, but
yeah.
There's definitely some heat to this.
Yeah.
So then you fought enemies that had the ability to teleport the party members?
Well, at one point, one did make Croesus wander off, but fortunately...
I did think about that, and I considered like doing things that like got them out of sync, but it just... I thought it was... At that point, you wouldn't even be able to use the battle board at all.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have some semblance of some kind of thing, so I did have, when they were moved, I just moved them on the board.
Yeah.
It was just too hard.
You could have had a secret battle board.
I did, actually. So they had the battle board, and I had on my computer screen, I had what was the battle board and all the things marked, and I was doing everything on there, and not telling them what was going on, just like, if the combat starts with, I think it was Gerard, something touches you.
Yeah.
And it actually failed, I think, so nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then something touched Cricket.
I think that one failed as well.
And then I think another one touched Cricket and did succeed. That was what stunned you.
Oh, right, I got stunned. Something stunned me. It's funny, John has a setup where he's got a dual monitor. One of the monitors is for his use, and the other one faces the party, and he uses it for putting up visual aids and stuff like that. And so at the beginning of the session, he carefully set all his stuff up, and he set up the monitor facing us, and it was black the entire time, because we at no point...
I was putting up pictures of everything they were seeing on there, but I never turned the monitor on. I spent all week hours prepping like the detail, what the place was like, all the descriptions, all the history, all the the monsters, what they look like.
Yeah.
I painted several monsters from scratch.
He's completely lying.
But you'll never know.
We can never know. Yeah.
And during that first round too is when I said to people, "All right, you're on fire. Oh,
yes.
You're on fire more.
Yes.
Oh, you're on fire more. Oh, you're on fire more.
Basically,
on fire even more."
There was an ongoing fire damage thing. I don't even know if it's an attack anymore. It could just be a characteristic of the place we're in.
But it did a
where
thing
if it hits you, you get 20 ongoing fire damage.
Yeah.
And if it hits you again, normally these things don't stack, but instead it just boosts the ongoing fire damage by 10.
Yeah.
And so, like, at one point, Hank had 50 ongoing fire damage on him or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, most people had like 20 to 30.
Yeah.
But like Hank just got hit every time.
Yeah. Fortunately, I had a thing that granted saving throws to allies, and I managed to get him off of fire.
Yeah. Because that's the opposite of on fire.
Yeah.
Off fire.
Yeah.
On fire.
During the round where everyone was getting set on fire repeatedly, I was stunned, so I wasn't able to do any Guardians countering or
Right,
taking
yeah.
of
Hank also got stunned. Something touched
Oh,
Hank and
right.
he got stunned.
Yes.
And I think someone else was dazed. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm remembering wrong. It's hard to remember exactly.
Yes, I'm trying not to because I don't want to try and figure out what happened. Because if we figure out what happens, we die.
Yeah.
Come on,
So-
cleric. Because he's named Dave.
I
You're stunned. Dave ends.
I remember offering at one point, since it was all about protecting Serendipity as long as possible, so she could do her rituals. I offered to have Cricket like coiled around her,
Right, yeah.
and she was like, "No, that's too creepy." So yeah,
That's right. On the first round,
Yeah.
Serendipity felt an icy presence in her mind, and then I rolled a 2. Then Serendipity felt an icy presence in her mind, and I rolled a 3. And Serendipity felt another icy presence in her mind, and I rolled a 1. So she felt 3 icy presences in her mind, and nothing came of it.
yeah. Which is probably for the best, because I think that was the thing that made Croesus run off. It was some sort of dominating or confusing,
Go away, icy
confusing
presence.
effect or something like that.
Yeah, she's tanking the future.
Yeah.
So the party, that was basically the opening round.
Yeah.
Then there's the party's turn, and Tim was very quick to this session to point out, but he didn't mention it last session, that he can sense all abominations within 5 squares, so he's not turning that off.
Right.
And they're expecting doppelgangers. So
It shouldn't be knowledge of the future if we see
Expect it.
exactly what we're expecting.
and if they even
We don't even know it's
he could
doppelgangers.
have turned it on the whole world's full, but he can only sense 5 squares.
Right.
Like if the whole world is full, he'll just believe something wrong, and that so he won't get
It's
switched.
harmless, yeah.
But so he turned it on. So how I had that was I let Tim have full access to my screen that had the actual battle board on it.
And then he described over the sending stones.
But he wasn't allowed to describe with like, oh, it's 2 squares away. You have to like describe how you say it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, these guys are 1 space. You can say like 1 gap, 1 space away was okay. I was okay with 1 space because that's like.
Combat units.
I was okay with 1 space away because that's something I think you would understand. Like it's over there. But beyond that, I was like, you can't say he's 2 squares from here. You can't say this, whatever. So he's like, all right, there's an enemy or there's an abomination next to you and next to the wall because I think it was during the first round of the comp party's turn.
There
Ben
wasn't
tried-
a wall originally, but
Ben
yeah,
tried to
that's
put
right.
up a wall, of
The
sandstone,
wall of stone.
which wasn't able to encircle them entirely, but made kind of a U shape. And so he was
gave us some
describing them like, there's, and that's kind of how it was. The party was here, and they're like, okay, there's a line of them here and a line of them here, and some scattered ones over here. And so they just
Yeah.
had to go with that.
And so Serendipity was like, oh, there's a lot of them in close proximity to each other. Excellent. Chain lightning on this square.
Yeah, it was great because
And-
I had to roll a bunch of dice, a bunch of damage, and then at the end I was like, okay, you shoot chain lightning, no idea what happens.
Yeah. And no one we don't hear it, we don't see it.
Yeah.
It's like,
It
okay.
was kind of unsatisfying because you don't get to describe weird stuff
Yeah.
happening, but it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't know.
You smell.
The end of the world.
Anyone who had
Actually
good smell blocked
had
their
stopped their
noses.
noses
Ah,
just
okay.
in case. Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
no smell of electrified flesh.
No.
Oh, you smell burnt sugar.
Croesus
The
did
distinct aroma.
Croesus did report that there were a lot fewer of them after the chain lightning went off, so we assumed that there were a bunch of minions, but we don't assume very hard because that would be thinking about what's going on. Maybe they were just weak.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how high-level monsters behave in the future. They die easily.
Gerard charged towards some, and he ran into some of them on the way.
Yes,
Actually, the
he's just
square
like,
he was going to charge was empty, so it was
Yeah.
going to be a wasted attack. But he ran into some on the way, so he just attacked those ones instead.
and he was in giant wolf form,
Right.
and he like bit one, and John described that he
Taste.
had bit off like some sort of muscular tube or something.
Yeah.
And we were like, don't think about it. Don't think about this tube that you bit off.
What did it taste like?
Spit it out. Don't. So that's one. That's one bit of knowledge that has leaked in. They have muscular tubes.
Either the doppelgangers or the future
or
creatures.
something. Some of them, when they touched us, they did this attack that, like, it felt like aging us, like we were getting all wizened and withered and stuff like that.
I don't know if you remember this, but there was actually, when you fought the Time Mages right in the war room, where they were ganging up to go back in time, you fought some Elder Time Mages that did that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was sort of speculating while trying hard not to speculate that, at the end of time, maybe there's, like, undead everywhere or something, but, it's good that Time Mages do that as well, because now it's uncertain again.
Hey.
Maybe it is undead, maybe it's just Time Mages. Whatever they are, they've got muscular tubes. That's the one thing we took away from that. So yeah, one of the icy presence in your minds things. I think one of those hit Cricket as well, didn't they?
No, it was.
There was that flurry of visions and stuff that sent me all. Is that the thing that dazes you?
That's the thing that stunned you.
Stunned, yes.
And then you both on that first round, both Cricket and Hank were stunned, so they did nothing. And then it was not save ends. It was just one round. And then so only people who acted were Strahd, Serendipity, and Hank. Hank didn't act. Strahd, Serendipity, and Croesus. And I think Croesus just like
did his armor and stuff.
So they went again, and they had to move around the wall because the wall had been put basically where most of them weren't, that weren't dead. And so that forced them to reclump again up on the other side. Some of them had been restrained by she had this like lightning chains thing that came off the chain lightning. And some of them were restrained, but a lot of them moved up to the top and clumped, and then they re-attacked the party. And I had made a tactical error because actually I can't even describe what the error was. But they only got lit on fire once that round, the next round. So
see, that's great. You don't even have to admit that you made any tactical errors. You just said, for whatever reason, they were only lit on fire once that round. It's all part of my masterful plan.
To not put the party on fire.
And
just claim that they're maneuvering and stuff, and it's going to be even more awesome.
Future creatures work in mysterious ways.
Some people got wizened, I think, again, and then I think Cricket got wizened.
Did she? I don't think so.
Oh no, because we were thinking that.
Because I was like, it would be like she's unaging and
it would be weird.
All
yeah,
that.
I think I attacked you and missed.
Yeah. And
then I had all the icy presences attack Serendipity again, and everyone missed again, except finally one did succeed, and she became dominated, and so she moved to a vulnerable position, and then you can only use an at will, so she used beguiling strands on the party.
Right, and flubbed her rolls.
Yeah, she rolled terrible.
Yeah, so it actually worked out. I mean, Serendipity is now no longer in the center of our meat shield, which is bad.
Yeah, she's surrounded by enemies.
Yeah,
and
Croesus also got hit with something that made him wander off. I don't think that was the same thing.
It actually was, but for the action, so it was the same thing. But for the action, I just did a second move. So basically, I forced Croesus to walk 10 squares away from the party, which was interesting because he can only sense the abominations within 5.
Yes.
And he was giving like some awesome buff to everyone. But only within 5. I think
so we spent a round without his awesome buff. We had so many status effects. Like a bunch of us were on fire. We had this regeneration thing. We had this various resistances to different types of damage.
It was such a jerk move too, because we do the communal turn. You get your regen at the beginning of the party turn. So even though he came right back, they'd already
none of us
the regen.
Yeah, got our regen.
But yeah, they did that. Oh, Croesus to get back did something where he like lightning teleported around and killed a bunch of them. And I think he had cracked my code on my secret battle board because monsters were just described by their
by a letter or something.
By a letter.
Yeah.
And he somehow sought out the minions particularly to kill. So I just realized that
I think you should
their code letter was M, even though that didn't stand for minion actually. But
don't tell me that. No, at one point when Croesus and Serendipity had both wandered off and like our little cluster was dispersing, I was starting to worry about how we were going to get everyone back. And I was thinking about how lucky it was that Cricket is now 30 feet long. if it comes to it, she could like just stretch out and like everyone just walk in circles, and when you step on me, I'll let you know. So yeah, trying to remember if I did anything really cool. I was mostly just doing the usual like buffing and healing stuff, granting everyone a not an action point, a saving throw was really handy to deal with the fire. Yeah, it was chant of bad fortune. I guess I had to do it over the sending stone in order for it to have that effect. So yeah, we're still in the fight. I think we're doing well.
Oh, that was the end of the session?
Pretty much. I think we're running out of events to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, Hank didn't get to go again because he was dazed.
Yeah.
And he was almost dead, so he got healing and used his second wind. That's all he had. Serendipity got out of her daze save end because she had cast a spell earlier in the combat that let her save at the beginning of her turn.
Did she get back to the center of the meat shield? I
don't think so.
I know Croesus managed to make his way back, so yeah, we'll have to get her back into safety.
Yeah, we didn't quite get to finish. We had kind of a slow getting going. Yeah, Rose was having like a weird meltdown. That kind of delayed us.
The future is fire and muscular tubes. That's it.
And in the future, there's a giant snake.
Yes, briefly. I hope briefly.
Although presumably, if you are in fact eternal.
I might be there. If I am, I can never know until I get there again.
I mean, it could be you're there popping off like half the. You had already killed half the guys, just hanging back.
Or I'm the muscular tube, but for Penteron. I could be like, knowing what I know now, I must kill the party.
We have too long. It's time to end everything.
Yes. Turns out the doppelgangers were right. I do have like the shadow template, which means I'm like part void creature. So.
Yeah, but I cannot die unless time dies.
Well, it's going to do that anyway, presumably. Actually, we were speculating in the car that we were only at the point furthest forward that we can reach. For all we know, over the next hill, just over there, there's a team of spellblades led by Serendipity frantically building a time wall to stop all us nonsense time travelers from going any further from where we are 3 weeks from now. So yeah, maybe we're just 3 weeks in the future.
John will have to spill the beans eventually and let us know what happened in the background.
I told him I was never telling.
Yeah.
And you could tell me.
You can tell the audience.
No. If the audience finds out, the time tower will fall on them. You don't want that.
I'm immune to time tower.
You're no Serpent Queen.
Nope. I'm better than the Serpent Queen.
Oh. No one's better than the Serpent Queen. Yeah, so I guess it's a fairly short tale telling, both because we didn't have a whole lot of time to play, and also because it was black.
Yeah, we don't know what happened.
Yes. Things happened. Yes. We built a wall, and we made the time mages pay for it.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
It was kind of weird from a D&D perspective, like, as far as, like, storytelling and stuff, it was kind of not the best session, but from a game, once in a while, from a gamey perspective, like, it was interesting from a gamey,
right,
yeah,
what can I do?
We were doing something really weird.
Can I overcome this difficult obstacle?
Yeah.
Nope, already did.
Well, I don't know. I think we're doing alright, I guess.
I'm sad I never got to do my time mage spiel, though. I said this last time, but I was just thinking about I'd forgotten to mention that their goal originally was, we're going to stop reality from existing. But now they're like, our goal is we're going to make it so nothing ever existed.
Right.
We're like the greatest heroes of all time.
Yeah, program.
Except there won't be all time.
There will be no one to sing our praise.
Right before reality ceases to exist, I'm going to timeless check myself and go beat them up in their homeworld.
Yeah, would the void stop existing?
Well, it never did exist.
It's always been in the place where things that don't exist are.
In fact, everything will be there now.
As opposed to almost everything being there as it is now. Compared to the number of things that don't exist, there are very few things that exist.
Or are there?
No, there's always more things that don't exist than there are things that exist.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because for everything that exists, there's a thing that doesn't exist that's broken into 2 pieces. And there's a thing that doesn't exist that's broken into 3 pieces. And that's broken into 4 pieces. And 5 pieces, etc., etc., etc.
But what if just imagining that causes them to exist?
It doesn't.
The only things that do exist are infinite.
Which infinity is bigger?
I think I feel pretty confident in saying there are more things that don't exist than there are that things exist.
I think in reality that's probably true. In a fantasy world, arguable.
Well, I mean, for starters, there's everything that's colored Blorn. That doesn't exist. You get the tiniest smidge of Blorn on anything, and there you go. Whole new class of things that don't exist.
Sure, well, I'm sure. I mean, Born is just white.
I think in order for Brian to be wrong, I think you would need something like what Mika's talking about, like something where stuff exists because it could exist in some alternate reality, or some stupid BS. You'd have to come up with some pretty out there BS to make it.
And you know, coming up with out there BS just to be right about something, that's lame.
Yeah. First-hand experience, right?
The trip to the past is also going to be challenging, but in a more conventional way.
Well, there you just have to not touch anything.
Yeah, which is really challenging, but it's the sort of thing we've had to deal with before.
At least you can see.
Yeah.
When did the Triforce get created?
I don't know if it had an origin point in world building. It was just sort of, oh, there it is.
Because if Ben Gerard could go get it before anyone else,
I know the first thing that happened in world building was my turn. The stars fell to Earth. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the first thing that ever...
I'm kind of hoping that the earliest accessible point is going to be over on the Elven continent where their big apocalypse is happening. I kind of want to see what happened there. This is something that's safe to speculate about.
turns out time is a circle. And the furthest point forward you can go is a few seconds before the further back you can go. And so you're going to finish this, and then you do go far back, and the enemy is just going to be like, what the fuck? But they're back, get them!
Well, we'll be able to find out what the muscular tubes are.
Turns out exactly what it says in the tin.
It's like in Arrested Development, dead bird inside. I don't know what I was expecting.
Maybe there was just a hot dog stand there or something.
Man, there's always money in a hot dog stand.
Yep. The hot dog stand at the end of the universe. It's a little bit, cut rate compared to the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Where you teleported in from the middle of the line.
And that's what the fight is.
Yeah.
That's what the muscular tube was.
Got to be careful not to actually figure it out, though.
It's just.
I really hope that's not the case, because then I'll die. And also, it's dumb.
Oh man, yeah. If John told us what the secret, what the truth was, we could threaten to kill Brian.
I mean,
wouldn't work. You'd all be dead already.
He is a mortal man. You can threaten to kill him anyway.
I'm not cricket. I'm not cricket.
That's the ultimate test of the player knowledge separation.
Right, yeah.
Brian, can you really separate your player knowledge? Because if you can't, you die.
We do have a ritual that can erase memories.
Before the time tower kills you?
It would be our sort of desperation thing. It's like, we'll have to endure the time tower just long enough to cast this spell.
Turns out the true time tower was inside you all along.
I also revealed what stats I used for power.
Yes, this is interesting.
I used the Tarask because it has like the perfect thing. It's immune to everything. You can't avoid its damage. It's just like this massive powerhouse of destruction.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I didn't have is it can only be killed by that elaborate thing. Obviously, I ignored that, but...
Does that mean that power could have swallowed us whole?
No.
Okay, because I guess the 4th edition Tarask doesn't have that then, because that was a thing in earlier versions.
Well, so the Tarask is better because its walk through your squares and hurt you thing is a lot better because it's like gargantuan.
Covers a lot more squares.
By a technical reading of the rules, in 3.5, the Tarasks cannot be killed even with its special withdrawal.
Oh.
So what you have to do is get the Tarask to minus 40 hit points. It has regeneration, regeneration, meaning that all damage it takes is subdued damage, which does not actually subtract your hit point total.
That's way too nitpicky a reading.
And it doesn't have any no damage type that goes around it. Yeah.
It's better regeneration for it.
Wait, why is all damage subdual damage?
Because that's how regeneration works.
Yeah.
It's automatically subdued, so it's subdued damage except for things that pierce your regeneration. And then regeneration only deals through That's how they deal with the trolls take fire damage and don't heal it.
That's no good. That means when you're hacking apart a troll with bladed weapons and stuff, they're not actually being hacked apart.
Well, they're being hacked apart, but it's mechanically subdued.
Okay.
Oh, subdual damage.
It's not bad.
I remember coming across this great document once that listed off 20 different ways that a low-level character could take down a Tarrasque. And some of them were really great, twisted readings of rules, working out okay, if you've got a first-level archer, it can only hit them if it rolls a crit. So we need 3,521 archers to do X amount of damage per turn, which is necessary to keep it, at a certain level and stuff like that. There was one where, you make this, you use a wall of iron to produce a certain amount of iron, and then use reduce to make it tiny, and then trick the Tarrasque into swallowing it. And then it gets big again, and now the Tarrasque has a certain amount of weight, which makes it sink, and the Tarrasque doesn't have a swim skill, so you need a pit of certain depth, and then the Tarrasque will drown before it's able to climb the wall of the pit. And, this is all this chicanery of the rules. I gotta look that up. Again, it's a fun set of ridiculousness.
While it appears in every edition, I bet it's almost never been used in anyone's campaign. Because the whole point is it's a campaign boss that has its own built-in fetch quest story. Right? I'm sure it was probably some early D&D campaign that was the final boss, and then they just replicated it. And I guess someone might just pull that up. People probably have read that, thought it was cool, pulled it off the shelf.
So yeah, we can now say that we fought a Tarrasque.
Are you still doing that crazy box to look
Kind of.
I haven't tried it yet.
I think we're doing okay.
I'm on fire. It's a lot of fire. It's a lot of fire. It's a lot of fire. How's everybody else doing? I'm just on fire. It's more fire. Fire.
This is fantastic. I have no idea what's going on or what's going to happen. Literally, this is the point of it all. It's been so long.
So, I've got my armor up, and there are chaos beasts, and we're killing them. I know everything I need to.
This is funny fun, but I really wish I could unplug my nose.